I bootstrapped my last company, GetConch.ai, to $1 million in revenue and 1.5 million users. Now I lost all of that to conflicts and legal suits. I had to start all over again, but as a testament to my learnings, I was able to get this already to a few thousands of dollars in monthly revenue. We got so much demand and users that we had to stop to focus on the product, and that's why revenue stopped growing. But here's all my learnings on how you can get here too. Number one was validating the product before diving deep into it. With all my last companies, this was such a big mistake. We spent $30,000 on an app and then would realize no one wants it. They had a fundamental problem with it. You can check out my video on that app and how I blew so much on it too. But number one thing I did here was build an initial prototype. I'll admit, even on this, I went a little too deep, but this was such a passionate project for me and something from the core that after building it, I then just posted it on Reddit and it blew up with a 90% upvote rate. That was pretty amazing. So that gave me a lot of initial validation feedback, and that gave me that feeling that, okay, this is bound to work and I'm not crazy. The second thing is I already fundamentally understood this market. So we're building a personal AI operating system, like a personal knowledge management system if you've used Obsidian or other note-taking apps. They were so fundamentally flawed. You can't find your notes again. And what I mean to highlight by this is that I had deep knowledge of this field. If you don't have deep knowledge and you're trying to dive in, such a high chance of you failing because you're not passionate about it. You don't have a chance of understanding it. People who already understand the core problems are already this far ahead of you. So user research is important, but you're already behind and there's people who are so in depth in that field. How are you going to compete with them? Now you can do it, but you have to have this mindset of, okay, I'm at zero and I have to learn, and then start to build. But for me, I personally wanted this tool in the world. I was someone who'd instantly pay for it myself. And since I was the first paying user, now I just have to find people like me who are enthusiastic about personal knowledge management and AI, and boom, I already have my first user base. And from there, we make the product better so it's more generalized. So now it's going towards an AI operating system. I guess to venture capitalists, that also sounds pretty nice. And yeah, those are 3 steps right there of how you can instantly go toward the right path and not be a failure like me and do 10 years of coding and building apps. And you can probably get your first app to be a revenue generating product. If you're not technical, step 4 would be the development. For this, I'd recommend learning to code yourself. There is no shortcut to this. If you give it to a contractor, what will happen is they will scam you. It's just they live in really poor countries. They're trying to make a big bang buck money as much as possible. If they were a very positive mindset person, they wouldn't be a contractor most likely in the first place. There are good contractors. I'm not dissing on them. I'm just saying that most likely if you don't have technical knowledge, they will try to, because they think you're a foreigner or whatever that with a lot of money. So they'll try to get rich. And I mean, everyone self-optimizes, right? Maybe there's givers like me who just, but you got to be careful. So definitely learning to code to an extent where you can understand. And when you want to hire a contractor because you're pretty slow, you do go with that knowledge of, okay, I know how all this works, and I'm now, that person's gonna be a little scared of trying to scam you because they know you can understand the code. Even though you don't, you kind of like have a show of like, oh, I already know I'm gonna build this app in Flutter. So it just takes a month part-time to learn how to code, especially if you're in your 20s, you have a developed brain, things like that. Now, step 5 is the design. This is really important too. A lot of people just hack together things and then they call it a day. If you're building in consumer, design is crucial. It has to be something people get from the get-go. If you're building for B2B, there it's more about, okay, the business should get it from the get-go. They don't care about the design, they care about the functionality and the money they generate. I'm not a big B2B founder myself, but I've talked to a lot in the Bay Area. And the number one thing they say is, if their landing page is, oh, we increase your revenue by 10% for e-commerce, that's an instant click. For B2B, you don't care about a personal, enjoyable experience. You're there to work and get things done. So your design for your landing page, your product will reflect that. For consumer, when I'm building something for personal life, something I use, it has to be beautiful from the inside out and a constant daily experience. Like someone that can build a clone of my app, but it looks so bad. It's like an Apple iPhone knockoff. No one, I would rather just give my whole life savings and use an iPhone rather than spend on a bad product that just makes me feel bad every day. Now, once you nail these things, you're pretty off to a great start. And the final thing I want to leave you with is there is no secret sauce. These are just fundamental principles that you could even learn in a business book. Actually, no outdated textbook will have this. They'll tell you to create a business plan, all that, blah, blah, blah. But these are the fundamental principles that 20 years from now, a business book will publish on Hindi hacking, getting your revenue off the ground. But after you understand these fundamental principles, it's all about whatever you're doing, deeply understanding it from the core, whether it's you read books about it, journal about it, whatever you do about it. You have to understand it fundamentally and challenge yourself, because it's not just some game of like, oh, I give them a bottle of water and I get money back. You're not selling a bottle of water. You're selling something so abstract in concept and hierarchy. If you're building an iPhone widget, think about it. Someone has to own an iPhone first. They have to have a particular use case in society. Maybe they like their alarms at a particular time. Why do they like it at a particular time? And based on that, not only do you build a greater product, but you think about why they need that alarm, and you can charge them properly. So if you charge them for someone that's just, oh, like it's kind of cool to have, and you try to charge them $3 a month, they won't pay for it. But if you end up finding like, okay, this type of business professional needs an alarm for each meeting because they have so many Zoom calls and they forget, that person will die to give you $20 a month because they want it so badly. You can easily charge them 30, and now you don't need to find 5, 10 paying users for that $3 a month product. You can build a product with just 10 users, 100 paying users, and already $3K a month. And you can live off that. Crazy, right? So this is from someone who's been on the ground doing this, sharing all this with you. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe, and comment down below what kinds of other questions you have or videos you'd like to see. Ciao.